All right, our friends at ESPN are out with their way too early All-American team for the 2023 season, and they've got four Georgia Bulldogs on there. That's quite a bit. Think about these guys coming back. This is first team All-American. They've got Brock Bowers at tight end, Mikael Williams, who really did have a good close to the season. Uh, he's a defensive lineman, defensive end, obviously. And then Jerron Dumas Johnson, Pop at linebacker. And then maybe the second easiest, Malachi Starks, figuring in for the Dogs um, in a defensive back. So Georgia with four guys on there. I don't know if that's more than any other team. Michigan had a couple. Um, Michigan had a couple. They didn't have four. Notre Dame had quite a few as well. But I think that this is, I mean, I don't know that there's not a better tight end in the country than Brock Bowers. I'm not sure if there's a better defensive back than Malachi Starks. I mean, when you look at, Kool-Aid McKinstry, excuse me, at Bama, Benjamin Morrison at Notre Dame, and then Carmen Kitchens at Miami. Those are the three defensive backs that ESPN also has in there. I mean, I think the guy to monitor, and he was an all-purpose All-American, is Travis Hunter, who will be at Colorado this season. Is he, one of the best defensive backs or the best defensive backs in the country? We'll see. I love watching Pac-12 football. Colorado doesn't normally play very late at night just because they're in Mountain Time zone. They're actually not that far from Atlanta by plane. But other guys on here, obviously Caleb Williams, who won the Heisman Trophy, Marvin Harrison, who played great against Georgia, and then obviously didn't have a catch in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. So there's some really good players on here. But that Georgia has Harold Perkins from LSU, obviously a very good player. A guy that got away. Well, this is one of the few guys that got away from Georgia. Barrett Carter at Clemson. He is Clemson's best player, and that's not saying what it used to over in Tatertown, but he is a really good player. He'd be a heck of a player for Georgia. But Georgia's combination of Pop and Smile Mondon, that's a really good linebacking core. If you look at Georgia's linebackers coming back in 2023, they really are very good. I mean, you lost Nolan Smith, now you return with Chaz Chambliss, who's been the starter there since, I don't know, what was that, the Tennessee game, I guess? I can't remember. This Georgia defense is this Georgia defense. I could see how it could be better in 23. And that's probably another video for another day. Hey, pick up Double Dogs today if you've not gotten it already. This is a publication you're not going to want to miss out on. We've got the inside story of the Ohio State game at a minimum. That's already written and complete. I've got to pick the picture. I've got to figure out which images we're using, but I can assure you that Ryan Curley's outstanding image of the final play of the game is going to be in there, and that's something you're going to want to find out in Double Dogs. A lot of people have been buying Double Dogs and Dog Struction, which is great. They are obviously a wonderful combination, but get Double Dogs today. If you're interested, you're going to want to make sure you get both of these. If you're missing out on one, got a back order of Dog Struction coming in here shortly, but we've reached the point where I'm not sure I can guarantee you confetti. So get the book with just for the book. It's a great value, and the link is down below. But I think these guys, for Georgia, this rings true. This is a program that has done a great job of recruiting and developing players. I mean, this is someone who just ordered whenever you see that alert. So folks are taking advantage of the ability to get Double Dogs today, and we're ahead of where we were a season ago. I think we're gonna have a very successful run with Double Dogs. But I think, look, Malachi Starks is one of the best players in the country, period. And that he, you know, you've got some just exceptional players in this program, on this team, etc. They are they are superb. And they have done such a good job, Georgia, Kirby and company, of making sure that they are not just recruiting but developing as well. I mean, I think straight up, Texas A&M is a great example of we're going to recruit. Well, you got to develop too. And for Kirby, um, I'm old enough to remember when folks didn't take Georgia as seriously as they could have or should have because I thought, oh, this guy's just gonna, he is only going to recruit. He's not going to be able to develop. He's done. I'm not sure there's other folks that are in college football that have done as good a job of developing players. I mean, when you think about just Stetson, uh, Xavier Truss, for sure. And on the defensive line, Zion Logue, Stackhouse, Christopher Smith in the backfield, uh, Bullard for sure. Uh, you know, Chaz Chambliss was not a consensus top 300 player. Here are the non-top 300 players that have been playing and playing a lot for Georgia. Okay, these are consensus um, folks that play, and some of these guys are starters, some of them are not. Stetson Bennett, uh, Edwards at running back, McConkey at wide receiver, excuse me. A.D. Mitchell, now he's at Texas, but he was a very good player for Georgia. Let me keep going here. Well, Van Pran, that was just such a huge get for him coming back. He was not a top 100 player. Um, Zion Logue, not top 100, not top 300, excuse me. Stackhouse, not top 100. Chaz Chambliss, not top 300 player consensus. Christopher Smith, not top 100. Javon Bullard, not. I say Christopher Smith, not top 100. Christopher Smith was not top 300. Javon Bullard, not top 300. I mean, Jack Podnesley, obviously not top 300. That's a lot of players who are not top 300 consensus players who have come along and played really well for Georgia. I mean, how many guys was that? Like 15? So, and then, they just they seem to understand who to go get, how those players fit in to a particular system. I have to tell you, this is a really good linebacking core. You could see Chambliss, Sorey, Demus Johnson, and Munden all from the same class. You could see them all starting. We'll see. But this is a really, really good group that Georgia's got coming back, and that there are 4 All-Americans preseason, according to ESPN. I mean, I can't argue against that. Is Dumas Johnson better than Smile Munden? Somebody smarter than me can say. I think they're both very good. I'll tell you that right now. Other guys who could become All-Americans, Mims for sure. Uh, I think is a guy to watch. Van Pran for sure is a guy to watch. I mean, you're going to return all those guys on defense that I talked about: Zion Logue, Warren Brinson, Stackhouse, uh, Williams. You're also going to return not all of your linebackers, but the bulk of them. And in the secondary, you lose Christopher Smith and Keely Ringo, but you're going to return Lassiter, Bullard, Malachi Starks. You're returning 3 of your 5 guys who started in the secondary, 3 of your linebackers, and like at least 3 of your starting defensive linemen. I mean, that's a lot to return on the offensive line. As we discussed, 7 of the 11 starters, I believe it was, that started the national championship game and the Ohio State game return. And very specifically on the offensive line, you've got Truss back. It's Truss, Van Pran, Ratledge, and Mims. They all started in that game. The guy they're losing, obviously, is Broderick Jones. I mean, you lose Warren McClendon as well, but he didn't start in those 2 games. And Warren McClendon was great at Georgia. I mean, Warren McClendon was not a top 100 prospect. He started like 3 years at Georgia straight or whatever it was. I mean, Warren McClendon locked it down. So, this is gonna be a really good, Georgia team again. They are at the point where if there's fall off, it's not gonna be significant, at least not from my perspective. Pick up double dogs today.